Hello, everyone, and welcome back into another episode of Conversations with Chris and Cameron. It's episode 44, and I am going to pronounce Cameron's last name right. Last week, I didn't even notice until Cameron texted me, but it is Chris Beesmore, and of course, Cameron Waddle. How are you doing?
Cameron Waddle, indeed. I'm doing well, doing well. Yeah, I didn't want to, I mean, call it out on the pod, but we got it fixed. We're all good. But yeah, Cameron Waddle is doing great at the time. How are
Yeah,
you doing?
I'm doing well. Well, I think I was thinking maybe about like Casey Wallace, so Cameron Wallace.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many Waddles. It's really Jalen Waddle, and that's about
And
the
you.
most famous one. That's about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you're right about that. But overall, I'm doing well. I still can't believe I didn't even notice last week whenever we were doing the introduction. But, you texted me, and then I'm like, wow, I didn't see this until after the podcast ended.
Yeah. I didn't want to cause any scene or anything, so I was like, all right, I'll let it fly.
Yeah, forgetting the co-host name. But no, we're going to be talking mainly Kentucky basketball tonight. We'll, of course, cover a little bit with Kentucky football with the recent commitments, but let's talk about Kentucky basketball to begin the podcast. Of course, it was announced Monday that Jaland Lowe will miss the remainder of the season with the season-ending shoulder surgery. And we all thought it was going to be coming soon. Like, we all probably thought he was going to get it after the St. John's game, but he came back in the second half. He fought through that injury, and then, of course, he got injured again against Mississippi State on Saturday, and then never came back after the first half. And then, of course, it was announced today that, he will have season-ending shoulder surgery, sadly.
Yeah. Sadly, that's the outcome, and it was oddly similar to the St. John's one where it just happened mid-play and he's just gone immediately. So,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of similar moment there, but unfortunately did not come back this time. Came back out in street clothes and ended up cheering on the guys, but certainly not back in the game. And it stinks to be in this situation, and it just feels like. I mean, obviously, we looked pretty good in the second half, so people will have their own opinions and stuff. But it feels like it's just a one thing after another this season, and the thing that kind of felt inevitable that like he was going to end up getting an even worse injury. Didn't know it'd be season-ending surgery or whatever, but
Mhm.
it feels like it's just kind of here and then it's happening. So big guys, I mean, guys are gonna have to step up like
Yeah.
big time. So I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit, but it really stinks
Yeah.
for Jalen Lowe, and I hate it. And prayers and best wishes for him for a speedy recovery.
Yeah, and like you were saying, hopefully he'll have a speedy recovery. And who knows if he does come back to Kentucky? Of course, he could always transfer, elsewhere. And, Mark Pope could also be looking for another point guard instead of Jalen Lowe. It just literally all depends on what Lowe wants. Because I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like Mark Pope would welcome Jalen Lowe back. But it also depends if Lowe does want to return from his shoulder injury from his surgery or if he wants a fresh start somewhere else like he did from going from Pitt to Kentucky and then of course maybe transferring elsewhere.
Yeah, no doubt. And then the talk has kind of been like the um medical red shirt and how that whole
Yeah.
situation works out because he played 2 years at Pitt, and ironically, he played literally the last draw of what a medical red shirt could be for, with 31 games playing nine is the mark that he had to be at, and so
And,
there's an opportunity for him to get another 2 years of college basketball and essentially kind of be in college for 5 years, but
yeah.
obviously for the player, you want to see that because these guys are limited on time. Believe it or
Mhm.
not, they're not allowed to stay in college forever. It feels like some people do that.
Yeah.
But obviously for him, it'll be cool if he's able to get other years. And like you said, he could end up leaving, wanting a
Yeah.
different opportunity, or even I think Pope would welcome him back, like you had mentioned. But I mean, maybe there's a world where there's another really high major point guard that's going to be good, and maybe
Yeah.
he's interested in coming to Kentucky, and we go get him and kind
Mhm.
of tell Jalen that it's best if you move on
Yeah.
somewhere else where you can be a star. So I don't know what
Yeah.
it looks like, but there's a good chance that he'll be getting another 2 years of college basketball. And some people love that, some people hate that, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, and I'm perfectly fine with getting like another year of eligibility. If you get one, like I feel like the two instances, of course, for football, you get that red shirt, and then of course with UK, more than likely Braden Hawthorne, he's going to red shirt this year. It's not been official, but he still hasn't played. But I'm fine with the NCAA having the two red shirts with a medical red shirt, and then of course just a regular red shirt. So I'm fine with that. But you can't have, players playing 7, 8, 9 years,
No, yeah, no, it's ridiculous when we're seeing. I mean, some teams their average age is like 23 or 24, and it's like, all
Yeah.
right, this is too much. It should be. I
Hmm.
mean, 4 years of school and I think 5 years max if you want to do a grad transfer year or something and do something like that, then I can understand that. But yeah, it's gotten outrageous nowadays.
Yeah.
But when it's a medical red shirt, that you always kind of feel for the guy. And I know it's gotten crazy because the whole Trinidad Chambliss situation, he's trying to
Yeah.
claim a medical red shirt for swollen tonsils.
And swollen
That
tonsils.
yeah, that doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
make me feel like he needs to have that. But like Jalen Lowe, for example, obviously extremely
Yeah.
hurt and injured, so he's
Mhm.
having a season-ending
Yeah.
surgery. So
Mhm.
I think he definitely deserves one.
Yeah, and then also talking a little bit more about low, the other rule that you have to follow is you can't play over half of your season games. So like what I mean is like we're almost to the halfway point. Basically, UK's next game that they play will be the 16th game, and there are 31 games in the regular season. So that's another rule where if you play, past the halfway mark in the season, you cannot get that medical red shirt. So luckily for Jalen Lowe. It's not past the halfway mark yet because UK is 9-6, and of course, 15 or if you double 15 is 30, so it's not 31.
Yeah, he's barely missing it. So I mean, honestly, you never want to see any form of injury or never see
Yeah,
a point where somebody's got to have surgery in the middle of a year. But you can't really time it up any better than this. Like
yeah.
it definitely wasn't on purpose, but he just made it to
Mhm.
where he's able to get that. So happy for him, happy for everybody involved there for him because it's as good as it could get. If it would have happened 2 games from now, it'd be a really really terrible situation. So
Yeah.
at least he's having another opportunity at it.
Yeah, and like we were saying, Lowe gave it his all, and he could have easily quit on the team like a month ago. Not really quit, but say I'm going to do season-ending shoulder surgery. But instead, he actually fought. He tried to be healthy, but sadly, his shoulder just kept failing on him, and you can't blame him for redshirting. And I think now we should talk about who has to step up for UK because I mean last game. We had Denzel Aberdeen stepping up. You also had Jasper Johnson. One player that really stepped up, and I feel like he could fill the Marty Williams role. I know a lot of people are saying that he can't, but I feel very confident in Malachi Marino with what he did against Mississippi State on Saturday.
Yeah, I am confident in that. I mean, he showed that he's an absolute baller, and not only just like rebounding, putbacks, all this stuff, but just what he was able to do outside of just being around the rim and all that. It was awesome. So I would love to see him have that opportunity to at least try it. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
that's been something that they've really messed around with. Maybe before JQ was back healthy, that maybe they did try that, um, and maybe we end up seeing it. But I would like to at least try it, at least
yeah.
see what it looks like, have him be at the top of the key and run a lot of things through him. So that would be a lot of
Yeah.
fun. But obviously he played incredible already. So if you could add that to his bag, then like he's going to be a guy that you can't really take off the floor, which I think would be awesome.
Yeah, I felt like UK did that partially against Mississippi State, not like fully. Malachi Marino was, of course, not fully running the Marty Williams role, but overall, he had, I feel like, the best game of his early young career being a freshman. Of course, he didn't have his career high in points, but he had 17 points, 8 for 10 from the field, along with 8 rebounds, 6 assists and then 4 steals. So basically, he was doing everything right for UK. The only thing that you wish he could have done maybe a little bit better was be a little bit more of a shot blocker, get some block shots because he didn't have any. But overall, like he looked like one of the best players on the court against Mississippi State.
Yeah, it was dominant at times. Yeah, I mean, he was awesome, and like you mentioned, the best game of his young career. He's got a lot of basketball left, but this was definitely the best we've seen, and we've seen glimpses of it, where like he could be this guy, but now you get to really see it. And maybe he adds more of a shot blocking aspect, but as a big, getting 4 steals is crazy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, seeing that was awesome, but. Just the 6 assists with 17 points and 8
mhm,
boards, like that stat line alone is awesome. And then I mean, you add in the box score plus minus. In a game where you win by 24, it's difficult to
20.
like really put a lot into it. But when you play 28 minutes, there's a
Uh-huh.
lot of tired body, and Pope is big on like if guys are in over a certain amount of time, then their efficiency goes down and all this different
Mhm.
stuff. If you play 28 minutes and you go plus 19 as
Yeah.
a big man, that's really, really good. So I
Yeah.
love seeing that on Saturday.
Yeah, well, I remember he asked to get checked out during the first half at one point. I think it was right after Jasper Johnson missed his like layup, and then he got the tip slam, and then you could see Malachi like going like that with his jersey, saying like, "I need a little bit of a breather." He also did that in like the second half, where he only had like a 90-second break or whatever, and he got back into the game, and it just shows that Mark Pope is putting a lot of trust in the freshman big man Malachi Marino from Georgetown, Kentucky.
Yeah, no doubt. And as a I've been being an assistant coach for 3 years now. There's nothing better than actually seeing a guy pulling on his jersey because of how hard he's been working and on the floor. So I'm sure that absolutely like warmed the heart of all those coaches that are like,
Mhm.
let's go, dude. This is awesome. So obviously like he's not a superhero. He can't just be on the floor the entire time.
Yeah.
So having to ask to come out is very impressive
Hmm.
and doing what he did while he was on the floor was awesome. So you mentioned the kid from Georgetown. Love to see Malachi
Hmm.
do this because we both shared the opinion that going into his freshman year we were like, Brandon
Project
Garrison's
B.
gonna have to take yeah, he's got Brandon Garrison's gonna have to take a step up. Malachi's gonna be a depth guy, and then once JQ gets back, then it's JQ, then Brandon, and
Yeah.
it is clearly Malachi's spot right now.
Yeah, it's clearly Malachi until Jaden Quayton's returns. Of course, I thought the SEC availability report would have came out, but it didn't. So we don't know if Quayton's will play against LSU. Hopefully he will. The reason why he was out was due to knee swelling because, of course, he's still coming back from his torn ACL and playing long minutes, like 20 plus minutes, you're going to get knee swelling because you're still trying to get 100% healthy from your injury.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it's just been something that's been off and on and everything. So,
Yeah.
I mean, health is obviously the number one thing, and there's been all the speculation that he's gonna like hang it up, and I don't think that's a legit situation that we're in at all. So, um, but I'm excited to get him back. You know, he's a
Yeah.
freak, and obviously at times he hasn't been like what we thought he'd be. Like St. John's game, it felt like we were seeing just
Mhm.
Shaq play on our basketball team.
Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't end up being that, but he's still gonna be a really good player and really good for us all year.
Yeah, for sure. And let's go now back to the guard play, because of course, Jaland Lowe, he's going to be out for the rest of the year. But let's talk about the guard play with Denzel Aberdeen. He actually looked like his old self. It reminded me of the Louisville game because he has been getting a lot of hate throughout the season, which I understand why, because every time he comes in, the ball just sticks to him. He doesn't really pass at all. Like he doesn't get any assist, and basically his main priority is to score or shoot. And it looked like he was back to his old self against Louisville. He had 16 points, 5 for 9 from the field. And then, of course, he also had 4 assists to go along with that in 33 minutes, and he was a plus 16. And overall, he looked like I was saying, his old self against Louisville. And that's something that we need with Low out.
Yeah, it looked like the version that we were all hoping to see when he came over from Florida for sure. Like, if he can do this, it is very, very crucial for this team going forward. Very, very important piece because he can obviously handle it. But one of the better guys with the ball in his hands. But like you said it best, it would always stick. That was the thing with him. It was like, I mean, not to the Michael Porter Jr. level, but it was like it would get there and he'd be like, all right, man, like maybe we should swing that one more time. But it was always
Mhm.
like his shot, but not this game. It was.
Yeah,
I mean, fluid offense. The ball was always moving, and it was a big thing. Not only him, a lot of guys. It was really just impressive to see that. Like, I really want to know what those practices looked like in between Missouri and here because
yeah,
it was, and maybe just at halftime because even the first half was a little shaky, but that
yeah,
second half was beautiful. So
yeah.
I'm
It was,
curious what they had kind of said, like whether it was like I mean, it just looked like everything they did had a lot more intentionality behind it. Like
yeah,
there'd be a paint touch to a kick or something, and it would just like everything had a lot more intentionality with it. And he
yeah.
was one of the guys that definitely stepped up big time in the absence of Lowe
Mhm.
and played an incredible game. You mentioned plus 16. You can't ask for much
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, and then also, talking about another guard, Jasper Johnson, even though he only had 5 points, he went 2 for 4 from the field. He had that 3 point shot that he made that helped to helped Kentucky to take the lead in the first half at one point, and then of course he scored another basket in the second half. But he only played 10 minutes, but he was a plus 16, and basically Mark Pope said post game against Mississippi State that it's time for Jasper Johnson to shine. It's time for him to take that next step, and that is what he has to exactly do with Jaland Lowe being out. And if he can take that next step for UK and actually be successful, like the sky's the limit for Kentucky and of course also for Johnson as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's one of those dudes that you could see the flashes. I mean, he had the end of the first half play against, I think it was Bellarmine. He had a couple crazy plays. I remember in the Georgetown exhibition, he had some great plays in the Purdue exhibition. Like that, he goes back this entire
Yeah,
time that he's been at UK. You could see the flashes, but it's
flashes.
never really grown into something yet. But now with this increased playing time role, that I think like you're gonna. I mean, if you think about it, like those were the games that Lowe was also out
Yeah.
from the blue white game. So like when he was given more of an opportunity, he was starting to shine. So I think the more he gets comfortable with it, he's going to
Mhm.
continue to just grow and mature in his
Mhm.
game. And obviously in this one he only played 10 minutes, but it like I mean Pope said it's time for him to have a big step forward. And
Yeah.
I think we might be seeing. I'm very excited about it. I mean you know how I am with Jasper Johnson. I'm
Yeah.
extremely favorable to him, and I'm excited to see his next like leap forward.
Yeah, everybody was calling him Rob Dillingham before the season started, all because he played at overtime elite.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I took him. I don't know if you remember this. I said, we talked about who our leading scorer was going to be. I took him.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
I said like he's gonna be like off ball, all this stuff, and he's gonna be able to get all these shots, and he's only averaging 6.9 right now. So he's a
Yeah.
little bit behind Owe, who's averaging 15. So I was a little
Yeah,
bit wrong there. But
only a little bit.
yeah, only a little bit behind.
Yeah. But yeah, and just continuing to talk about our guard play, Otego Way, he finally looks like he is back to his old self. Basically since that UNC game, it looks like he's back to his old self. Everybody wasn't just saying he was disinterested. He basically got paid and then he's quitting on UK, but that was not the reason. It was all because he was coming back from that turf toe injury. He was out 10 weeks during the summer during practice and everything, and he just needed to get healthy again and get back to 100%. And basically, since that UNC game, he's been insane. I think he's been averaging 20 points in like 4 of the last 6 games or 5 of the last 7 games. So, like, he is being very important to UK because every game so far he has scored 10 plus points, but it didn't look like he was doing it with very much efficiency up until that UNC game.
Yeah, he's had 20 plus in 5 of the last 7, and then he's
Yeah,
out of the last 3, he had 22 at Bama, 20 against Missouri, and 22 in Mississippi State. So, and obviously 2 of the 3 didn't end up in wins, but it was more
yeah,
of being able to see that old Oweh back, the
yeah.
Oweh we were expecting back. And you mentioned coming back from his injury. It obviously just probably takes a little time to knock the rust off and everything. And I also think not only for him, but the emergence of Cam Williams recently has kind
Cam,
of opened that up. So like the more that he's able to shoot, the more respect
yeah,
that he gets, and so it opens up these lanes, and like always just what Oweh was like. He's just like flying down the floor and going and doing all these different things that he did last year,
yeah,
that we were excited to get back. So it's been really cool, and he's
mhm,
obviously a fan favorite because I mean, he's a 2 year guy. We don't
yeah,
obviously in history we haven't had too many of those, but getting a guy like this back, and I
mhm,
mean, people are already Kentucky fans are being Kentucky fans right now, already saying like SEC Player of the Year again. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, it'd take a lot to like kind of jump some of these guys, but I think he's right back there in the mix.
yep,
Especially if he continues to this level and gets his
mhm,
average up even to 17, 18 a game if he keeps going at this pace. So
yeah,
maybe he does get back there, but nonetheless, he is
mhm,
back
yeah. He is
officially, so
definitely
we can
back.
stamp that.
Yeah, and then yeah, talking about his stat line, he had 22 points, 10 for 17 from the field, 2 for 4 from the 3-point line, along with 5 assists, 5 steals, 1 block, and 3 rebounds. Like he did everything for UK against Mississippi State, and that's one of the reasons why UK won in a 24-point blowout, 92-68. Even though the first 9 minutes did not go very well in the first half, but after the first 9 minutes in that first half, it was smooth sailing for UK.
Yeah, I was shocked to find today out of guys that actually like kind of shoot it, that play a lot. I would say he was third on the team in 3-point percentage. So I know it's not
Really?
the prettiest three in the world, but the guys above him, Trent Noah, I mean, he's played. I don't consider him in that the next tier where
Yeah.
it's Jasper Johnson, Colin Chandler, Otega Owe, and Zach Tao leads the team. I'll highlight
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
He's 1 for 1 on the year, um, but Owe is shooting 36.7. That's higher than I think anybody was really expecting.
Yeah.
Especially the way that it looks, I think is a
Yeah.
little bit. But if it's got a hitch and it doesn't look great, as long as it's consistent and that
Yeah.
works for you, then like I mean, well, let's do it. And if he's getting the open
Yeah.
ones, like he's taking very efficient ones, so which
Mhm.
that ends up panning out for him
Yeah.
very well because he's not forcing them and not he's just taking them when they come in the flow of the offense. So it's been
Yeah.
really cool to see seeing him get his 3 point percentage up and
Mhm.
now third, if you want to argue fourth, then he's right there. But like he's been one of the best.
Yeah, and it feels like he has gotten his confidence back too, because like early on in the season, it just did not look like he had any confidence. It just looked like he was out there to just get 10 points and then be done or whatever it might have been. Like it looks like he has a lot of confidence right now and in his shot and then also his, playmaking and everything, and that's what we need with Owe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned the confidence and kind of just having fun with it. He meant like when he hit the three to get us up. I don't even know what it was, but he had hit a three and it was an instant sell. It was like timeout, all
Yeah.
this. So like you can just see there's a lot more like fun being had out there,
Hmm.
and it's just cool to see Owe back to like a happy, free
Yeah.
flowing self because that's what we need for this team to be able to go as far as we can possibly go.
Yeah, and then of course I want to talk about one other player that we all should talk about, Cam Williams. Of course, he led the team with the plus minus with a plus 32. He had 14 points, 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. He also had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and along with that, 2 steals. And overall, it was probably one of his best games of the year, other than like Bellerman whenever he made 8 3-pointers. But I feel like Cam Williams, he has to start, whether it be at the 3 or the 4. Like he has to start going forward because like it's helping, UK's offense. And the one thing that he also did against Mississippi State as well is he actually attacked the rim. And I think that's one of the reasons why he has been being benched or not starting for UK is because he hasn't been attacking the rim, like not listening to Mark Pope, which I understand, Mark Pope's thought process. But at the same time, if he's one of the best shooters, he has to play.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of the biggest threats that we have, and I mean, he was the guy that in the preseason I had mentioned was my favorite, and it's I'm always partial to somebody that's name Cam, so that was
Yeah.
the number one thing. As soon as he committed, before I knew anything about him, I was like, yeah, I like this kid. But then he's a 3 and D wing, extremely efficient on the defensive end, very efficient on the offensive end, and he's only become a better shooter as the years gone on. But then you
Yeah.
mentioned he's attacking more. He only took three threes in this one because those were the ones that he should have taken. All the other ones, he's either moving the ball, ripping through, getting downhill, and getting to the rim. So he's just growing his offensive game so much more
Yeah.
that like somebody's not going to be able to fly out on a three anymore because they'll just blow by. So like
Yeah.
he had the one play in the Louisville game that I think it was like a putback or something, and everybody was
Mhm.
like, "Oh shoot, if he can add this to his game instead of just shooting on the
Yeah.
offensive end, then like you're gonna have to play him." And that kind of had gone away, and we hadn't seen that. It was more of just a shooting role. But I mean, he
Mhm.
played 30 minutes in this one. You mentioned plus 32. Like he's just got to be on the floor. He's the most efficient guy we've got.
Mhm.
He's got the length. You mentioned 3 or 4. I don't care. Just start the man and play
Yeah.
him 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And he has to start, like you were saying, 30 plus minutes a game, probably. And there was one play in particular against Mississippi State that stood out to me. Basically, I can't remember if he got like the rebound or what, but I remember though, it was basically a fast break, like coming off of the miss from Mississippi State. He gets the ball at the 3-point line. The Mississippi State defender comes up to him. Instead of shooting it or attacking the rim, he passed to Otega away in the corner. Otega away shoots the ball, makes it, I think, a timeout right after that for Mississippi State. But I was very happy with that play, even though like maybe Cam Williams was the better 3-point shooter in that, option, but instead he made, the better play call by passing it to away in the corner for the three, and he makes it.
Yeah, that's the classic passing up a good one for a great one. Like it was obviously a good shot, but with a guy flying towards you, you can kick it and kick it to your teammate
Mhm.
to where he's got a better look at it. And like the only times that I feel like you would say that's still a great shot is like if you're Steph Curry. Obviously,
Yeah,
Cam Williams not Steph Curry,
yeah,
so like passing up that one to give it to Oweh, who's way more efficient than I think people think of after watching his jump shot. So yeah, I mean that was one
yeah.
play of many that were like, yeah, this kid's just getting it.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to talk about I was very happy to finally see Andrea Jelovic get some playing time. Of course, he didn't do too much on the court. He played 16 minutes, but he scored 3 points. He had that one wide open three-pointer. Basically, his defender just gave up. Basically, UK was up like 20 points or whatever with like a minute left, and his defender didn't even try to go out and guard him. Like I was watching the replay, I was like pouting, like we're down 20, like the game's over, and then just Yelovich nails the three on him.
Yeah,
But
that one wasn't necessarily the greatest closeout of all time,
yeah,
and obviously you want to see him hit the open ones. But I was glad to just see him get some tick, and it wasn't
yeah,
just like he was getting spot minutes. I mean, the man played 16 minutes
yeah,
and looked really good out there. So
yeah,
I think he just gives us a new like another option of like he's at least more of a 3-point threat than Mohamed Diabate. Like
yeah,
that's the one that like I love Mo Diabate, and I
yeah,
love what he can bring for this team. But golly, dude, like it's almost like you got to throw the hard hats on when he throws up a three. It's just like
yeah,
that. It's almost like they just have no chance of going in, sadly. And it's not
yeah,
his game, so I don't blame him. But Yelovich just kind of opens it up a lot more. It spaces
mhm,
things out a lot more. And obviously, Mo
yeah,
Diabate is a much better rebounder than
mhm,
Yelovich is, but Yelovich has got some length and he can go grab one too. So
yeah.
I hope to see him get some more time going forward for sure.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I've been like trying to get him some more playing time. Like I've been saying, like, of course I haven't told Mark Pope this, but I'm like, Mark Pope, play him, and he hasn't been playing. Like I can't remember the last time he played, like other than like the Mississippi State. Like it probably had been like 3, 4, 5 games since he last played. But I was happy to see Yelovich get some playing time. He looked confident on the floor, and then another player that I was happy that actually looked confident too on the floor was Colin Chandler. Of course, he didn't have the best stat line, but 7 points, 2 for 8 from the field. But he had that 1 3 in the first half, and I was just very happy. I'm like, we need that Colin Chandler back where he's just shooting it with confidence, attacking the rim, doing whatever he needs to because like he looked so great towards the end of his freshman year, and then of course the beginning of this year as well, his sophomore year.
Yeah, for sure. Yelovich, the last game he played was Bellarmine before that.
Yeah,
So yeah, it had been a couple.
yeah,
But yeah, Colin, like it feels like the more the season goes on, I think Pope, I think is gonna not that he like feels like he owes him minutes or anything, but like it felt like at times he was almost forced into the starting lineup and like he was
yeah,
forced onto the floor and all this stuff. And I feel like we're starting to see a little bit of more like Colin should be more of this role and not like
mhm,
not a key player, but more of like a second threat and second options.
yeah,
And that's what he was towards the end of last year. And that's when he started to thrive. So with him playing like 19 minutes of this one, it's like, all
mhm,
right, I think we'll start to see maybe that 15 to 20-minute range instead of
yeah.
like 20 plus, which
25.
I think is going to be really good for him.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And real quick, I just want to talk about this Missouri game. Of course, UK lost to them 73 to 68. But the one thing that definitely frustrated me during that game was whenever Missouri went zone and UK could not do anything. Basically, they were just passing the ball around the 3 point line, and then they were like, "Hey, I'm going to shoot it finally." But they didn't even get the ball inside, and that is the one thing that annoyed me whenever UK lost 73 to 68, and they should have probably won that game though.
Yeah, that one was extremely horrendous, and that one was one for the history books because that was Missouri's first win in Rupp, and then also, I mean the Mississippi State game that we didn't mention, they still haven't beat us. I think it's 20 straight regular season victories over them. I think they haven't beat us in the regular season since like 2007 or 2008. It's unbelievable how much we own them.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny, but Missouri, on the other hand, like you mentioned, horrendous loss. It was terrible.
yeah,
There it was just kind of I think they went zone and that one possession is just like almost hilarious to me. It feels like you got to add some comedy music on it and
yeah,
just like speed it up a little bit. Like they just continued to pass around, pass around, pass around, pass around, volleyball on three, and it was like what are we doing?
yeah,
Um, so that was obviously horrendous, and it felt like every
Yeah.
time Dennis Gates would call something, he had an answer. It was like Kentucky would come out something, and there'd be some form of pressure, there'd be some matchup or something. He'd call a timeout, and they would get whatever they wanted right there.
Yeah.
Whether it was inbounds plays, whether it was just an offensive set,
Hmm.
that game was all time collapse. I had a buddy
Yeah.
that
All time
had
collapse.
texted. We were up 66-58 after that 0-3.
Yeah.
And he had texted like, man, this is where it feels like we fall apart. We'll see how many points we score in the last. And we end up getting outscored. What is that? 15? Yeah, 15-2 to end the game in the last 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was collapse, is the
Yeah.
best way to put it.
Yeah, it was definitely a collapse, and uh, I thought UK was going to win whenever, Colin Chandler somehow got that steal, and then of course Otego away just missed the bunny at the rim, and I think one of the reasons why he missed that bunny at the rim was because he went off the wrong foot whenever he was going up for the layup, and then of course he missed it. UK fouled, and then it was basically game over after that.
On those, it might just be because I'm a white man that can't hardly jump over a piece of paper. But why don't you just dunk that? Like I feel like it takes away many wrong things like that miss. If you go
Yeah,
dunk that and you just put that over the rim, I just don't understand. And like Amari Williams had that last year at times, and obviously it was very frustrating with him because he's 7 foot. But Owe, like he's up there by himself. There's
yeah,
nobody at the rim. It's not like he's trying to get something off quick to where if somebody tries to block it, it's a goaltend or anything. Like just go dunk it. I don't
yeah,
understand why that happened, but it was very, very frustrating. And I did think
yeah,
we were going to win it, even though we shouldn't. We didn't deserve to win it, the way we had choked it away. But like I did think, oh, always got a wide open one right here,
yeah,
um, and so that one, that was a
yeah,
terrible night. That was an
yeah.
all
It
time
was,
night for
yeah.
Kentucky Twitter. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I mean everybody was calling for Mark Pope's head to be fired and everything. And right now, UK should honestly be right now 12-4 on the season instead of 10-6. Like they should have been able to defeat UNC. They should have been able to defeat Missouri at home. Both losses, and right now UK sits 10-6 right now on the year, and they have to continue to win out if they want a chance in the NCAA tournament. And both of our record predictions are going to be way off, even though I predicted 24-7. I mean, UK still has a chance. Like they would just have to win 14 more games and only lose one, but you're not going to win 14 out of your 15 final games. There's no way.
I know. I mean, yeah, yours is still on the table. It's not over yet. But do you
Yeah.
remember what mine was? What my exact prediction was?
I think yours was like 27-4 or 28-3, something like that.
Yeah, it was something unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it was,
Yeah.
yeah. Mine's long gone. We can just put it that way.
Yeah, yours is long gone. Hey, mine still has a chance. Win 14 out of your 15 games. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. Very, very simple. Just
Yeah.
do that. I'm trying to find. Trying to see. Yeah. All right. So I said start 11-0. Losses were St. John's, which we won, so wrong there. A loss at Alabama, which was right. And then I had a loss to Florida and A&M, so it was 27-4, 15-3 in conference, which we've already lost two in
Yeah.
conference. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
rough. And then I said SEC tournament champs and NCAA tournament Final Four.
Yeah, well, I think everybody had high expectations going into the season, especially after you defeat Purdue in the exhibition game, blow them out of the waters, and then of course after that you lose to Georgetown in the exhibition game, and then you lose basically all of your tough opponents with Louisville, Michigan State, UNC, the Gonzaga. The list goes on and on. Like games that you shouldn't probably like. You lose a couple of those games, but you don't lose all of them.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been quite the year so far, and obviously, like you mentioned, everybody had high expectations, and not many people expected this,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah, but enough talking about basketball. We'll transition to football. We'll briefly talk about basketball at the end of the podcast, and just to talk about, our score prediction against LSU because we should be able to defeat them. Like the game should not be close. If it is, then like that's another worst case scenario. But we'll talk about football, come back to basketball at the very end. But UK football, they continue to get so many top recruits, like especially the Texas running back CJ Baxter. He finally committed to Kentucky. Everybody thought he was going to go elsewhere, whether it would have been either, Colorado or Indiana, but UK got their running back one with CJ Baxter, and that's a very big get. Of course, you've got your quarterback one with Kenny Minchey. So far you've got QB one and running back one and locked up, and that's the main thing for Will Stein. And I'm very excited to see what Baxter can do for UK.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a guy that was the number one running back in his class out of high school, but has had a career riddled with injuries. And it started in high school. He had hamstring
Yeah.
issues. And then I believe he had like two or three different injuries at Texas. And that kind of, I
Mhm.
think, worried Texas a little bit because he had gotten hurt this last year, too. So they kind of went
Yeah.
elsewhere and he went and explored. And obviously, you mentioned the best schools in the country were going after him. I mean, if you've got Kurt Signetti pursuing the man, then I think you're in a good spot to go pursue him
Yeah.
because, I mean, every source that felt like said like, oh, IU's got him locked. It's
Yeah.
over. ESPN, they had shoot it in as a Indiana Hoosier lock,
Yeah.
and he ends up coming to Kentucky, and it was a great shock. And it
Yeah.
was on the back end of a great Sunday of portal commitments. But CJ
Yeah.
Baxter is a massive one, RB1. We've got Javante Barnes and then Jason Patterson announced he's coming back. So like
Yeah.
running back room is stacked, to
Yep.
say the least.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have Jason Patterson back at UK. He was one of my first like recruits that I ever talked to. I have a big admiring for him just because I built a relationship with him during his high school days, of course, and he committed to Kentucky. So every time I see him, like, what's good, Jason? Like if I see him like after a game or something. So he's a very nice guy, and I wish him the best. So happy to have Patterson back, but. Yeah, having CJ Baxter though at Kentucky, and basically he told Indiana that, or he told UK really that he felt like he was a better fit at UK compared to Indiana, basically, and then he wanted an offer price. UK said no, we can offer you this much, and then Baxter was, or basically they finally got right in the middle and they were able to agree to a term. So I'm glad UK and Baxter they were able to meet in the middle with how much money he wanted with NIL compensation.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned that very excited about Patterson coming back, and I think he'll have a big role in this because
Mhm.
if you all like didn't watch Oregon this year, they run a whole lot of different running backs. They ran like four or five for a lot of the year, so he's going to be utilized a lot more than he was in the past. And I think he's a super special player. But getting Baxter was like one of those where it was like we talked since he got hired, feed the studs, but you've got to
Yeah,
have the studs to be able to feed them. So he was one that we had kind of kept an eye on because they got him on campus immediately once he entered the portal.
yeah,
And I don't know what I expected for this staff like right away, but when I found out they got him on campus, I was like, oh,
yeah,
these guys are
yeah,
serious. So then having that whole thing work out where you got the first visit and then you
mhm,
still locked him down
yeah,
and got him there at the end, even though I mean Kentucky fans, there's obviously were at times the definition of overreactors. And so when it came out that he was probably going to go to Indiana, everybody had looked elsewhere. But
yeah,
little did we know, right at the end of the run here, at the end of his visits and everything, he ended up committing and being a Kentucky
yeah.
Wildcat. We got one of the best backs in the portal.
Yeah, we definitely did. And of course, UK is still going after another Texas player, Texas wide receiver, DeAndre Moore. He still hasn't announced a commitment. A lot of people are saying he could potentially go to Colorado, but if you can get DeAndre Moore, he would be your wide receiver number one, of course. But having two players from Texas transferring to Kentucky would be great. With your RB1 wide receiver one. So it'll be interesting. So far for UK, they have landed 24 transfers, and then, of course, right now, they have landed 14 high school commitments. So in total, they have 38 commitments. So UK football, they will have a brand new roster for a second year in a row because like last year we brought in, I can't remember, 50, 60, 70 players from high school and transferring. So you already have 39 players coming in, or 38 players coming in, which is just insane for Kentucky.
Yeah, we had 26 transfers last year. I think it was another like 24 or 25 or something from high school.
Mhm,
So it was a complete overhaul last year, but now it's a complete overhaul with a completely different perspective because
mhm.
it's obviously this new era and everything. But
Yeah.
you mentioned DeAndre Moore, and that's kind of like the one that I feel like all eyes are focused on right now.
Mhm,
And he's a very very key piece because he's one of the best in the class and just one of the best receivers in the portal and one of the best options. So getting him would be awesome. And like you mentioned, things have seemed like they shifted towards Colorado
mhm.
unfortunately. But it turned out, I mean, Ole Miss wanted
Yeah.
him pretty badly. There were a lot of schools really going after him once he entered. Also, one being down the road with Louisville, and there's still a Twitter page that says like more is in store for the Cards or
Yeah.
something crazy. But everybody wanted him, and for obvious reasons, like I mentioned with CJ Baxter, absolute stud, and with him, with those two names, they have a very good relationship with each other. So I'm hoping CJ Baxter is not only happy to be in Lexington, but I'm hoping he's doing a little recruiting extra on the side for us too.
Yeah, I definitely think he is out recruiting for Kentucky football and like you were saying, trying to get his teammate to commit to Kentucky. If we can get DeAndre Moore, it would be insane. But I want to also talk about the offensive line. Like it's insane how great our offensive line is going to look. It looks great on paper. Hopefully it translates to that onto the field. But we of course talked about Colton Price in our last podcast. He committed to Kentucky, coming from Baylor. Max Anderson from Tennessee also committed. And then our latest commitment that we got on the offensive line was Tegra Tshaubla. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's from
Shabola.
Tabola.
Yeah, no, Tegra Shabola.
Tegra Shabola. Well, that's how you
Yeah.
pronounce it. Of course, if y'all don't know who he is, he played at Ohio State. There were a lot of rumors that he could potentially commit to Kentucky back whenever Vince Merrill was on staff. Sadly, that never happened. But now he is finally at UK, but no Vince Merrill on the staff, no Mark Stoops, none of that. But I mean, that's a big get coming from Ohio State for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned Vince Marrow and that whole scenario that ended up being very ironic today.
Yeah, that
When Pete Nocta retweeted whatever that tweet was where it said what it said something like boom, let's go,
boom.
nothing like Ohio football or something.
Yeah,
And
something
then
like
we obviously get Tiger Shabola, and then even though that was Vince's guy and he always wanted him, he ends up retweeting that, and then it all got a little chippy. But Pete Nocta, he's out here headhunting, and he landed us
yeah,
a really good one. But you mentioned the trenches, like it's
yeah,
unbelievable what Cutter Leftwich and this staff have done
yeah,
with who they've gotten and the level that they've got. I mean,
yeah,
there was a new offensive tackle entry tonight, which is Jordan Seaton, one of the best that was in the entire sport last year. He ended up being number one now that he's entered. But then we
yeah.
got the number three offensive tackle, the number one interior lineman, and the number two interior lineman. That is
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's
I can't
unbelievable.
believe we're in this situation.
Yeah, and we haven't even gone on all the offensive line. Of course, you've got Mark Robinson coming from UTEP, offensive tackle. Then you've got Lance Hurd coming from Tennessee to Kentucky, like another great player that's going to be a great addition. And then you've got Olis Alignment from Alabama coming to Kentucky as well. Like I can't pronounce some of these players, but UK football, Cutter Leftwich, Will Stein, they are getting these big time commitments, and that's nothing but respect for Leftwich. And hopefully he can actually build this big blue wall because the big blue wall, it has been awful the past couple of years, and I'm excited to see what Leftwich can actually do this year.
Yeah, I mean your guess is as good as mine on some of these players' names. I mean, they're I'm glad we got Max Anderson to keep it simple. Like there's no
Yeah,
questioning how that one's pronounced. But yeah, I mean they're building it in the right way too. Like they're building it with guys with a lot of playing time, and then there's guys with extremely high ceilings and potential behind them that are gonna be learning from them. And the thing that I like so much about Tager Shabala is that like he's already projected extremely high in the draft. So now if you can like kind of boost him up to like maybe first round level or
yeah,
something, and you get a first round offensive lineman in your first year, that's only going to help you recruiting wise going
yeah,
forward. So that's going to be huge.
yeah,
And then obviously you mentioned Lance Hurd, like he's also one of those that's very, very highly touted. I mean, one of the guys that's going to get drafted in this next year. So he's a guy that's played a lot of football, and he's
Mhm.
played a lot of really good football with LSU and Tennessee. So, and it's obviously fun to steal from them when he was their starting left tackle for the last 2 years, and he was an All SEC member this year. So, if you can get an offensive lineman with a 94 grade, I
Yeah.
think you're gonna be doing all right.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And for me, it still sucks that we lost Jalen Farmer to the NFL draft. Like, I wish he could have stayed at UK. Like, he would have been a big get. Like, he'll still get drafted in the NFL. Like, he'll probably be, I would say, a fourth, fifth rounder maybe. But if he stayed at UK for another year, he could have easily probably been a second or third rounder and easily, boosted his draft stock. But I guess he was ready to, transition, try to get into the professionals, tried to play for the NFL, and I wish him the best, but I wish we could have kept Farmer on the offensive line.
Yeah, I do as well. But obviously, like you mentioned, it's some of these guys are just ready to officially make that next step, and he was one of them. But I mean, they've loaded it up big time. I mean, they got I can't remember all the names, but there's been some that are from a lower level that are really really good there. That other schools were recruiting big time to land, and we got some guys over some very very good schools. So the trenches is what I'm most excited about. Like obviously, there's
Yeah.
people that are worried about different positions and stuff and but the trenches being this locked down, I'm just like, yeah,
Hmm.
this is exactly what we want to see because you mentioned the big blue wall. It's been
Hmm.
down,
Yeah.
but and also Will Stein posted something earlier that said brick by brick, and then it had JS65,
Yeah,
little
John
nodded to John
Salarman.
Salarman. So
Yeah.
very excited about the big blue wall coming back.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that, and hopefully it'll look great this upcoming year because Eric Walford, he ran it into the ground whenever he was here. He was so bad, and like he's at LSU. I just don't understand how he continues to get these big time jobs after like he is terrible at one school.
I'm telling you, he's got to know something about these people.
Yeah,
That,
I
that's
know.
the only explanation.
Yeah, I think you're right, maybe about that. But I just want to talk a little bit more about the transfer portal, and then we can get into like our predictions for Kentucky basketball. But UK, they also did add another quarterback. They added Jacquai Long, I think that's how you pronounce it. He played at Marshall Hurd. He was only a freshman. So he should still have 3 years of eligibility, I believe, whenever he comes to UK. But I feel like he's going to probably be quarterback three for well, he could possibly be quarterback two. I guess you could say Matt Ponatowski maybe three. But if you told me predicting it right now, I think UK gets another quarterback, and they could potentially get the Oregon transfer that just announced that he was transferring. I think it's Chris. I'm blanking on his last name. Help me out if you can remember, Cameron.
I don't remember honestly.
Yeah.
Didn't we just get another one tonight? Or am I tripping?
I
Another
think
quarterback.
I think you're tripping because I think we got one last night, uh but not tonight.
We got a preferred walk on.
Yeah,
Coming from
yeah,
Florida Atlantic.
yeah.
Carson Kruger. So we have
Carson.
another quarterback on
Yeah,
roster, not a scholarship guy though.
yeah. The name was Luke Moga. So I feel
Luke
like
Moga. Yep.
yeah, Luke Moga is the latest Oregon QB transfer that everybody thinks that he could commit to Kentucky. Of course, why I got it wrong was his father, Chris Moga, actually played at Kentucky. So potentially, he could come to UK because of his family ties. But I feel like Luke Moga could potentially be quarterback two, and then maybe Matt Ponatowski three, and then, like I said, the Marshall Hurd quarterback coming over as well would be QB4 maybe. But UK definitely needs to add another quarterback, whether it be QB2 or QB3, though, in my honest opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Luke Moga would make a lot of sense too, because obviously having the familiarity with the offense and everything already and just kind of getting how the whole flow works, like similar to how like Jackson Robinson came over with Mark Pope
Yeah.
for basketball, just getting a guy that has some understanding. And I don't think Luke Moga would be the only one. I think there's going to be a few. And I don't know if you paid attention tonight. There was like a mass exodus out of the Oregon program. There's so many leaving and entering their name. So not saying
Yeah.
all of them are going to come, but maybe some of those offensive guys definitely take a look at jumping over to the SEC and playing for an offense that everybody wants to play for.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and it'll be interesting to see who UK does add because it's not over yet. They're probably going to add still another like 20 players at least. I feel like on the roster, and UK right now they need wide receivers. Of course, they got two wide receiver commitments with Xavier Daisy coming from UAB, and then of course you've got Jacaden Ferguson. He was originally committed to Kentucky, but then actually signed his national letter of intent with Arkansas, and then now he transfers to Kentucky. So UK they have added two wide receivers, so that's the one room that they'll definitely have to focus on the future to get some commitments like we mentioned earlier, maybe DeAndre Moore.
Yeah, DeAndre Moore it seems like is a very, very important one. But
Hmm.
it does seem like just because there's not been anything said, this is just speculation from me. I feel like they're definitely targeting somebody else that they would consider a stud
Yeah,
because we lost Malcolm Simmons today to Texas Tech. That
yeah,
was kind of the other guy that we were looking at. There's still Daryl Gill from Syracuse that's very, very highly sought after and everything. And then there's kind of a drop off portal wise.
hmm,
But obviously there's some guys that they probably see that they could make work out pretty well. So
yeah,
I don't know what it looks like, but I would say they're probably still going after somebody else, even if DeAndre Moore doesn't necessarily work out.
yeah,
But I think if you get DeAndre Moore and then you can land another
hmm,
two, then
yeah,
you're in a really, really good spot. So you still got DJ Miller. Extremely sad we lost Cam Miller, but the receiver
yeah.
room, if you can land like DeAndre Moore and then get
Hmm.
some more just guys outside of him, I think we're gonna
Yeah.
be in a good
Well,
spot.
yeah, well, Matt Jones did say that there are more depth pieces they are close to locking up, and there's another stud receiver the staff began to pursue tonight, trying to keep it on the low. And Matt Jones did not say who the wide receiver was, but it makes you wonder, like, who is it? Like if UK doesn't get more, who's this other wide receiver that UK is trying to get?
The only two that I could guess that I would consider stud would be Mylan Graham, the Ohio State transfer, and then Daryl Gill, the one that I had mentioned from
Yeah,
Syracuse. Those are kind of the two. The receiver portal class, like they've all committed quickly, and some have
mhm,
signed and stuff. So there's not a ton out there,
yeah,
and but
yeah,
maybe Daryl Gill is one that they've started to
yeah,
pursue just in case. Who's a
yeah.
four-star receiver transfer that was really, really good last year.
Yeah, I would love to get Daryl Gill. If you all don't know who he is, of course, like you mentioned, coming from Syracuse, but 32 receptions this past year, 506 receiving yards, along with five touchdowns, and averaged about 16 yards per catch, which is pretty impressive. Ranked top 70 for wide receivers in that category. So I would love to get, Daryl Gill if we can.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was a guy that early in the year, Steve Angeli, their starting quarterback, got hurt, and they kind of fell off a little bit. And so being able to put up those numbers in that offense is very, very impressive. So I would love to pick him up. And I mean, I would also just assume I just found this out as we're filming live, but he's also from Texas, so that's only going to help us because we've got all those Texas ties.
Yeah, Texas Tide. And then also another thing I want to bring up, talking about the offensive line. Apparently, there's also one other option to consider. The big fish they are looking for may not even be in the transfer portal yet for the offensive line. So that's also another key thing because you've got so many offensive line players you've already added. Like, who else could it be?
Yeah, I mean maybe it's an Oregon guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean
maybe.
it wouldn't shock me if Cutter Leftwich somehow went and got Jordan Seaton at this point, the number one tackle in the portal. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But they've been absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, they definitely have been crushing it. But I feel bad because I really wanted one player to transfer to UK, but it never actually happened, which I don't think it will happen. But I really wanted Austin Novosad to transfer from Oregon to Kentucky. Of course, Novosad was the backup QB to Dante Moore, but I don't think that will happen for UK because, you have to pay him a lot of money to be more than likely the starting quarterback, and Kentucky already has their QB1 with Kenny Minchey.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work out like you mentioned. But it would have been cool. I mean, at least if we were to get Luke Moga, at least you get one. But I feel like it probably for time, it's probably for Noah Sad time to be a starter because he's been around for a couple of years, and I'd say he's probably well suited and ready, whether it's a G5 spot or whatever it may be. But
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to get paid decently well to go be somebody's starting quarterback, and
Hmm.
maybe he doesn't come take a backup spot, especially with obviously you can compete a little bit, but maybe there's no spring portal now. So I
Yeah,
think there's going to be a lot more like making sure you have the job
yeah.
situations.
Yeah, I find that interesting that they got rid of the spring portal, but I mean, it makes sense because you want to make sure you have your roster finalized going to, fall camp and everything. So, definitely very interesting that they got rid of the spring portal because, players can't transfer in the spring because, like you were saying, like, let's say, they thought they could be, QB1 and they aren't, and then they want to transfer again. Well, they can't because now you're locked up.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a weird situation. I don't really know the full reason on why they did that, but I don't know. But it definitely probably shifts some decision making for sure.
Yeah, definitely probably does. But do you have anything else you want to add before we talk about UK basketball to wrap up the podcast? We'll get into, score predictions and the MVP for the game, but do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Um, I would say just like defensively, we've gotten some absolute like key studs that we're about to be able to have. Like we had mentioned in the last podcast, I think we talked about Antonio O'Berry.
Yeah.
I think did we just get Hassan Sykes when we had done that, or was that
Yeah, we
after
just
we had
got
someone?
Hassan Sykes at that time.
Okay, and then we had talked about Tavion Wallace, but since then we got Jordan Castell, right? That was
Yeah,
after that.
yeah,
So he'll probably be a starter with Ty Bryant, I'm assuming. He was a 3-year starter
yeah,
at Florida.
Florida.
And then during the game, during the Mississippi State game, which may have been part of the thing that kind of sparked the run for us, we got
Yeah,
Elijah Bo Barnes. I mean, he was
coming
the number
from
one
Texas.
linebacker in his class, redshirted his freshman year at Texas, and they really did their absolute best to keep him,
Yeah,
and we end up getting him, and he commits in front of the eruption zone, and
yeah,
um, just one of the best linebackers in the country. So getting him with Tavion Wallace, it's going to be a
yeah.
new, very very high ceiling linebacker room. So I'm excited about it. These guys have definitely taken defense very very serious, even though it feels like once we got Stein, it was like, all right, let's just, even if we're going to lose, let's lose 50 to 49 or something, and then
Yeah.
Matt, we might just go out and be able to slow some people down and stop some folks. So they've
Mhm.
definitely taken it very serious on the defensive side, and Jay Bateman and his company over there have been very, very key
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, you're right about that. And like you were saying, like if UK were to lose, they're going to lose 50 to 49 or something like that. Crazy. Like it's going to be high scoring, but defensively it could be, high scoring against them as well. Hopefully that's not the case and UK can just blow out opponents, 49 to like 10 or something during the year. But hopefully, like the way it's going that UK can actually have a successful year this upcoming year in football. Hopefully, like I'm looking at the schedule right now and I'm just throwing it out there, 6-6. Hopefully I'm wrong. And of course we'll have a deep dive come August, come, the season with our team with the scheduling and everything. But, 6-6, I'm throwing that out there right now.
Man, I mean, I'd take 6-6 in a heartbeat. That schedule.
Yeah.
I was looking at that, and I was talking with a friend the other day. And if you look at it, I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's like we start with Bama, and then it's like you go, yeah, I think it's so there's one, two, three. There's three teams that were in the playoff this year. There's Tennessee, who was in it last year. There's
Mhm.
LSU that has Lane Kiffin. There's Vanderbilt, who arguably should have been in it. There's Louisville. There's
Yeah.
Missouri. Like it is an absolutely unbelievable schedule.
Yeah.
So it is
It's
welcome to
definitely,
the SEC, Will Stein. That's what they
yeah.
said with that one.
Yep, you're right about that. But yeah, if they do go 6-6, I believe I would be happy just because first year here at UK and then challenging SEC schedule.
Yeah, very, very, very challenging, and I would love to be going 6-6 with that for sure.
Yeah, but enough talking about football. We'll wrap up the podcast to briefly talk about UK versus LSU, get into score predictions and all that. But real quick, I just want to mention that UK, they were trying to go after one of the guards, and Deaton Thomas Jr., he has been lighting it up for LSU, 16.2 points per game, along with 3 rebounds and 7 assists. And he's one of the players that Mark Pope was interested in at the very start of the transfer portal. UK, of course, going to get him. We got Jaland Lowe instead, and has been out, or he will be out the rest of the year with the shoulder injury.
Yeah, yeah. Dejon Thomas was one that I was
Mhm.
excited we were going after, and then I don't know what that whole situation looked like there, but like you mentioned, he's been awesome for them. So
Yeah.
leading them in assists and points, averaging
Yeah.
16 and 7. So
Mhm.
very, very good guard play on the other end.
Yeah, you're right about that. But if y'all don't know, UK plays against LSU on Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. According to ESPN, UK has a 57.5% chance to defeat LSU, and I feel like they should be able to defeat LSU no matter what. LSU, even though they are 12-4 on the year, having a better record, they are still 0-3 in SEC play, so they'll definitely be a little motivated to defeat UK and get their first SEC win of the year because you cannot start out 0-4 on the year. But I do believe UK will probably defeat LSU, even though the game is played at Baton Rouge. I have all the confidence that UK can defeat LSU, and even without Jaland Lowe, being out the rest of the year, like you'll have other guards to step up, whether it be Denzel Aberdeen, Jasper Johnson, Colin Chandler, or the big man play with Malachi Marino, like we mentioned earlier. Like there's no like there's nothing in my mind that says UK will lose this game against LSU. There's no point spread out, but if I had to guess, UK will win this game. And like I said, I'm going with a little bit of a blowout, even though, the game is at LSU. I would say give me like a 76 to like 64 win. Like LSU, they aren't the best team. Like SEC teams, they have been blowing them out. So I have the utmost respect, confidence that UK can do that too, even on the road. 76-64 UK, they win by 12 in a blowout. Give me Oteo away being the MVP. I'll say he has 20 points along with like 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and like 3 assists.
Okay. Now, I do want to say this kind of as like a blanket thing. I want it to work out really, really bad for Matt McMahon down there, just
Yeah.
because he went from Murray State, which
Right.
what I thought was really cool, and I had a buddy that knew them and that staff and everything pretty well, and so I just want to see it work out. And obviously, it's not been the greatest start and everything, but and I'm going to say this not to scare people, but just to show some respect, I think, to our opponent. Uh, in Ken Palm, they are 16 spots higher than Missouri was.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Missouri is 56, um, with the 105th ranked defense, and we scored 68. LSU has the 70th ranked defense, and they are 40th. So they're at least decent. The record
yeah.
doesn't show it, but they're at least a pretty good ball club. But I
Yeah.
will go with a win. I'm not gonna say I want to see a comfortable win. That's obviously best case scenario. I think it'll be close, just because I mean we've been there a ton. The team 2 years ago went down there and it took Rob Dillingham making shots that made no sense off the glass. 2015 team went down there and nearly lost. It's a
Yeah.
weird Pete Maravich center. It's a weird place. So I think it's gonna be a close one.
I think we
I think
lost
we'll.
that Rob Dillingham game there.
Did they end up hit? Was that the buzzer beater?
I think it was like 75-74. I thought we lost. I don't know.
I just remember Rob was making like ridiculous
Yeah.
shots just to keep us in it. So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is
Yeah, I think we lost that game still because I looked it up 75-74 game. But I do
but
remember
but we
Rob Dillingham.
lost didn't we lose in 2021 also? I feel like they've hit like 85 buzzer beaters on us, whether it's at
85
home or
buzzer
on the
beaters.
road.
It said we defeat them in 2021. It was 82-69. But yeah, it feels like most of the games has been like very close, it feels like.
Yeah, especially down there. It's been a very, very weird like just place to play for us. Like it's always there's always just something that happens that's just
Mhm.
stupid down there. It's ridiculous. But I think we'll come out with a close one. I think like whatever the spread is, I think
Yeah.
it's probably covered for them, and I think we get out of there with like a I don't know a 74 to 69 victory for the Cats. And I'll go
So
Cam
close.
Williams as my MVP. I think he hits like 4 threes, gets downhill and gets to the line, hits a few free throws and stuff, and he finished with maybe 15, 16 points or something. And I think he's
Mhm.
gonna be an awesome player for us down there.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully, we're both right that UK can defeat LSU. And right now, like I said, LSU, they are dying for their first SEC win. They're 0-3, but we both feel like that LSU will go 0-4 going into SEC play or continuing SEC play. And, like UK, hopefully, gets their second win in SEC play. They are finally 500. They shouldn't be, right now 1-2 on the year. They should be 2-1 right now with their only loss to Alabama. But, stuff happens, and sadly, UK lost to Missouri. And hopefully, UK can actually get a win on the road against LSU, though.
Yeah, hopefully so. The game that I was thinking about was the 21-22 team. We had played them in 2022. That it was that group that I was thinking of. They beat us 65-60 there. So it's
Yeah.
always that place. It's always
Yeah.
just there. It's always just an absolute mess.
Yeah, I just feel like UK can actually have, a good offensive game against them and be able to blow them out because LSU, they don't score the ball too well at all. And I just feel like UK can actually be able to break through against them and actually have a big game scoring and also defending.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope so. I really want to see that, but yeah, like you mentioned, they haven't started out great, to say the least. And but I think the one thing is like Vanderbilt is 16-0. They've killed a lot of teams, and Vanderbilt only beat them by 11 at home. So maybe it's a team that isn't getting enough respect, but I think we should still go down there nonetheless and go win
Yeah.
a ball game because at the end of the day, it's still Kentucky. Like
Yeah.
you've got
Still.
to just go win these games.
Yep, I agree with you. And like I said, I'm predicting a blowout, win by 12, 76, 64. That is 12 points, and you're predicting a 5-point win against them. So hopefully we're both right. UK wins. They improve to 2-2 on the season, 11-6 overall, and hopefully they can continue to stack games and win games and, get ranked back in the top 25 soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully we're back up in the top soon, and let's get on a little win streak right here. It'd be a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Of course, DK went 10-8 last year on in SEC play. Hopefully they can do better than that and get 11, 12 wins, 13 wins, but we'll see about that. But hopefully, we'll have a great rest of our week and we'll find out soon if Jaden Acquaintance is also playing against LSU or not. But we're in green, so hopefully, we'll have some good luck the rest of the week.
Yeah, hopefully so. Maybe that'll lead to something.
Yeah, maybe, but we appreciate you all watching on YouTube and, of course, listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But this is Chris Beesmore and
And Cameron Waddle.
signing out. Have a great week, everybody.